talking about.
Craig, just ask the question.
But he's saying wrap it up.
Ask the question.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good morning, everybody, and a warm welcome to the Cambridge Insider podcast. Very nice to have all of our listeners with us once again. A little bit of a gloomy day in New Jersey, but nevertheless, we're a resilient bunch, so we are recording today as per usual. And as per usual, joining me from the West Coast, my colleague and friend, Mr. Craig Batson. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic today. It's always nice when you and I are on separate sides of the country, but we're sharing the same weather. So just a little gloomy here today already. I've already gone for a jog this morning and just got a little wet, so it wasn't too bad.
All right. Well, good to hear things in your part of the world are going okay. You had a few technical issues this morning. Anything you want to share with us?
No. I sound great. Everybody loves it. I show up. Everybody knows I'm the responsible one on this podcast. And for the listeners, just note that down, that I am the responsible one. Steven's the looks, Dean's the brains, and I'm the responsible one. That's how it goes.
All right. We'll most definitely cut that post-production.
I don't think we have that ability here.
And then I'm very excited to welcome as a guest somebody who I've worked with now for several years, and somebody who's worked alongside Cambridge for several years as well, Father Peter Clarke, who is the president of Morris Catholic located in Denville, New Jersey. Father Peter, how are you?
I am terrific. Thanks so much for having me on today. And just to be consistent all the way through, it is gloomy where we are here too. We had lots and lots of rain this morning. It finally seems like it's clearing up a little bit, but it's still a little overcast. But it's great to be here with everybody.
This is why the listeners come to us to know, is the weather the same for everyone?
Yeah, everybody wants to know what's the weather in New Jersey.
That's it. Weather updates. That's what we're here for. Well, let's get straight into it. Really excited about having Father Peter on. So, Father Peter, maybe just for our listeners, you have a lot of experience, in the United States education system. You've held several notable positions at different schools. Could you tell us a little bit about your experience specifically as it perhaps relates to the U.S. high school?
Sure. So I started actually teaching at a high school not too far from Morris Catholic. I taught there for a handful of years, and I was really lucky that I kind of moved up and had a really terrific mentor. And after about 5 years at the school, I ended up becoming a principal in an elementary school. Really loved that. But then I was actually placed as a principal at a high school as well. And so I spent 1 year actually as that, and then they tapped me and said, "Could you please take over the role of the head of school, the president here at Morris Catholic?" And so I've been here at Morris Catholic for 4 years now. I'm entering into my fourth academic year here at Morris Catholic High School.
Well, that's awesome. And just for our listeners, I know this, but some of them might not. You recently, recently completed your PhD.
I did. It was wonderful. Actually, my graduation present was not really a present, but it was my first trip to China with Cambridge. Right after I had graduated and ended my dissertation, I had a trip to China, which was really just such an amazing highlight. Meeting students and meeting the partners in China from Cambridge, it was really exciting. But yes, I have my doctorate. I just earned it about 3 years ago, and my research was on service learning and curriculum. So it's one of the things that we do here at Morris Catholic, where we ask our students to serve the community and to serve others. And it's one of the things that we really ask our kids to go above and beyond, to really have that character of service, not only through high school, but hopefully through college and the rest of their lives. So it's been something really important to me personally, and I love that I'm able to share that with our kids.
That's absolutely fantastic, and really congratulations, Father.
Thank you.
That's a big accomplishment. So, as someone that has gone to China on a recruitment trip, can you talk a little bit to our listeners who maybe haven't gone or do go? Can you tell them what you look for in students there? What does that trip look like? Give us a little fill in on that.
Sure. You know what? I'll tell you, it's really interesting to me. It's what I think of an international student, somebody from China, but it's the same thing I look for in terms of a domestic student. We are there. There are some schools that you can go to, and you can really focus on just one thing and do that 1,000%. That's really we want students who come to Morris Catholic, again, international or domestic. We want them to come and we want them to have the classic American high school experience. So obviously, number one, I want you to do well in your classes. I want you to work really, really hard, and I want you to push yourself. My hope is that when you start as a freshman and you keep on going through the 4 years of high school, that your classes are going to get progressively more difficult. They're going to get more rigorous, so that you can achieve honors classes. And eventually, as you get into your junior and senior year, you're going to be able to achieve AP classes. That's something that's really important to us, is that you are pushing yourself to the very best of your ability to show what you're capable of academically. But the flip side of that is, I also want you to do something with athletics or clubs and activities. Is I want you to be really, really involved, and like I said, do something that you really love, or maybe do something that you never thought you would do, and maybe you turn out that you love that. But I really want you to try something and go outside of just academics, and I think that's something that's really, really important in high school, whether at Morris Catholic or anywhere, is to show a diversity of experience. It's not just about academics. It's about athletics. It's about trying clubs. We have a wonderful drama program. Actually, a number of our international students get involved in the drama program, and they do the musical or the fall play, or some of the other stuff that we have available. It's about diversifying what you do. And then we ask you to do service and go into the community and meet people and learn different skills and use your skills to help others. As you see, what we're really asking you to do is to start creating that resume. So you have this really awesome resume that when you start looking at colleges, it's not that you're asking colleges to take you. Colleges are coming to you and say, you are going to be a real asset to our school because of everything that you've done. So I think, to sum it up, really, the most important thing for me, again, international or domestic, is somebody that's really open to the process, open to listening to the encouragement of the faculty and staff and their coaches and host families or parents. Somebody that's really open and willing to try new things and have a really great experience.
That's awesome, and I do just want to point out to any of the prospective international students that we do have listening to us, the emphasis that's placed on that overall holistic student and how that draws in, many of these colleges that some of our students want to go to or want to attend, but often don't understand that it does take somebody who's that holistic student, academically strong, involved in athletics, involved in the cultural side of the school as well. So, Father Peter, pleased that you did mention that.
Yeah, and I have to tell you that there are lots and lots and lots of kids that apply to the top colleges and universities in the United States, and they all have a 4.0 or a 4.0 plus. What's really going to set you apart is having those really terrific grades, but then all the other things that you do. Ultimately, colleges, it's funny. I think about my school, about Morris Catholic, and I think about the students that come here. And at the end of the day, what I ask myself is, are you going to be a good fit? And are you going to be an asset to our community? And at the end of the day, that's what we ask about anybody that's going to come to Morris Catholic. That's the exact same question that a college is going to ask of you as an applicant. Are you going to be an asset to our community? And if you can show academically, athletically, activities, service, all of the above, that you're going to be an asset to the community, well, you're going to rise to the top of that applicant pool. And that's what we really want to help you do.
That's great to hear. Strive to be an asset. It seems you can't go far these days without talking about COVID-19, without talking about this global pandemic that has made its way all over the world. Father Peter, what has been Morris Catholic's response to the pandemic, in particular related to students, I think, on the ground in New Jersey, but of course also students perhaps that are still stuck in China? What have you done from a safety perspective? How have you kept students supported, engaged? If you can just give our listeners a little bit of an insight into the school's response to the pandemic.
Sure. Well, the first thing that I think about is we can do lots of really wonderful things here at Morris Catholic, whether it's academically, athletically, personally, intellectually, you name it, spiritually. But I can't do anything unless we are sure that we are safe and healthy. And that's really been our focus, is how do we make sure that parents are comfortable sending their kids to our school and kids are comfortable coming to school, that they know that the building and the protocols that we put into place are keeping them safe and keeping them healthy. And that's what we spent our entire summer thinking about, and then putting plans into action. So every student, when they walk in the building, they take a temperature check. Every student that comes in the building is sanitizing their hands, and they're wearing a mask. There is not one student in our building that doesn't have a mask on. Unless they're eating, they have a mask on, and that's something that's really important to us. The other thing is that we're a nice size school. We've got about 420 kids in our school this year, and so it is manageable for us to be able to make sure that the students are doing the right things. The other flip side of this, I think, is something that's really important, is that you're going to find Morris Catholic to be a place that the kids that are here are plugged in, and they want to be successful, and they want to get ahead, and they want to do well, and they want to participate in athletics. They want to do well in their classes. They want to do a lot of different things because they're motivated. They have goals, and they want Morris Catholic to help them achieve their goals, and that's what we really do each and every day. They know that wearing the masks and keeping temperature checks and making sure that they're doing the right things in and out of school is what's going to ultimately get them and help them achieve their goals. The fact is that nobody wants to go back to 6 weeks or 6 months in quarantine. So we have really focused on how each and every one of us has personal responsibility to do the right things. And when we do that, then that means that we can get another day in school, another day with their friends, another day playing athletics, another day in front of instruction. I think that's something that's really important to us. On the flip side, once the kids go home, we've invested in multiple UV lamps. These are these big machines that go into classrooms and do an ultraviolet cleaning of the classrooms. They're disinfected every night. They're disinfected between classes. So not only are we asking the students to do the right things, but us as staff and administration, we're doing the right things as well to make sure that every student comes in, and every staff member, every person that comes into the building comes into a clean, disinfected building that's ready to go for another day of school.
That's some great insight. If you could also perhaps just give a mention to some students. I know at Morris Catholic we do have, as across the whole country at this stage, we do have students that are still in their home countries of China, Vietnam, Korea, some of them. What does that look like for a student at this stage at your school?
So one of the things that we think is really important is that we have in-person instruction, whether you're in the building with us or whether you're at home or even international. And so we have a handful of our international students that are attending online classes, just like they were sitting in the classroom. It was something that was important to us, is that you never know when somebody is living at home with somebody who's compromised, that is not 100% healthy all the time. We want to make sure that every student is comfortable with the decision that they make to be in person here in school or in person virtually. But every single student, if you have algebra at 8 o'clock on Monday morning, whether you're in school, you're in your seat, or whether you're at home, tuned onto the computer and participating virtually, the same thing happens in person or virtually for every single student. And it's fascinating to me that I can say that not for the kid that's down the street in Denville in New Jersey, but it's for the same kid that is in China. They're getting the same instruction, personal interaction. And I will say this is a little bit of a bragging about the faculty and staff of Morris Catholic. You know, if you're having trouble like me, I had trouble in geometry. It was awful for me. Luckily, the Cambridge kids and the Morris Catholic kids are much smarter than I ever will be. They get geometry perfectly. But the fact is that when you are when you have trouble in a subject, you stay after school, or you come before school and you talk to your teachers. It's kind of built into the kind of regular routine of the day. If you're virtual, it can pose an issue, but our teachers have really done an excellent job with making time to meet with our kids over email, over virtual chats, over any way that they can. They've had virtual study groups with multiple kids, and so that personal interaction that we have with our kids, just because we're virtual or we're in person, doesn't stop, which I think has been amazing, and that's a real testament to our teachers.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Craig, any final questions from your side? Anything that you'd still like to pick Father Peter's brain on?
So I think the last question that we'll have for our audience is, how are you at Morris building in student recruitment into this upcoming year? Are you expecting a large recruitment season? Are you interviewing students now? What are you guys looking at for this year?
To tell you the truth, I've been it's an uncertain world. You don't know what's happening, and I was pleasantly surprised that we're from where we were last year to where we are this year. We're just about even with the amount of students. It's been amazing, and I'll tell you that we're beginning our admission seasons now, and students really are responding. I think we've seen an uptick in response for our kids coming, and I think that will translate very well into some of the international students that are looking into Morris Catholic. So yes, we are doing interviews, and we're doing things in a way that hopefully we can be respectful to each individual family's comfort level. We have done Zoom calls or some sort of calls to virtually to meet kids and to talk about the school. We've also done in-person tours. We're having an in-person open house this Sunday for our domestic kids. But on the other hand, we have many opportunities to learn about the school virtually as well. So I do think that I think the first thing that we want to make sure is that if you're interested in the school and you want to learn more, there's multiple avenues to do that. And yes, I actually think we're going to see an uptick in enrollment for next year. I think it's something it's really exciting, and I feel like we've been trying over the last couple of years to really push the message of the good things that we do here, and I think it's finally starting to kind of hook on, and we just look forward to a really great future for Morris Catholic. I think it's going to be a good year for us next year.
Yeah, I think that's such a positive message on recruitment. I think there's a lot of doom and gloom out there at the moment, and I really like what you said in terms of, you know what, this is not ideal, but this too will pass. And the things that both the school is doing, the things that Cambridge is doing on the international side, we certainly not stopping those things. We're certainly upping our game to make sure that when those students are interested, we can offer them everything that they need to make an informed decision to hopefully from an international side come and enjoy some of the best education around. Father Peter, or should it be Father Dr. Peter? I'm not sure, but we'll keep that one. We'll keep that one up for debate. From the Cambridge Insider podcast team, thank you so much. We do really appreciate all of just sharing, the wealth of knowledge that you do have. Any final thoughts for our listeners before we say goodbye?
No, I just well, the one thing I do want to say is that I have to say, it's something that I love working with Cambridge. Um, but something that always impressed me, and especially when having an opportunity to go to China twice, and meeting the kids and meeting families, it's such an amazing leap of faith that these I think going to high school is scary enough, and then moving halfway across the world and going to high school has got to be absolutely terrifying. But our kids do it with such great success, and they're so brave to do something like this, to take a challenge like this on. I just have such admiration for our international kids that really they take that leap of faith. The one thing that I love doing stuff like this. Like I said, and loved being in China because I think it's so important that you put a face. I know this is a podcast; you can't see my face, but let's just pretend. But putting a name with a face, and know that when you do send your kids to a school in the States, hopefully Morris Catholic, that there's lots and lots of people that I always say when the kids come to the building, they're my kids too. And that we treat them and we care for them like they're our own kids. It's something really admirable for a kid to really take that leap of faith to try something like this. And I hope that you reach out and learn a little bit more about our school. And if there's any information get to you, anything that Cambridge can do, we look forward to it.
Awesome. As always, to all of our listeners, tune in for the next episode, and thank you for your time. Bye-bye.